This marks the first federal cabinet meeting in 6 weeks, amid soaring inflation and a cholera outbreak that has claimed over 50 lives nationwide. It is also the first meeting since the 37-member tripartite committee on the national minimum wage submitted its report to the president. The council deliberated on 39 memos, including one on the national minimum wage, which remains unresolved.
Want to inform Nigerians here that the Federal Executive Council deliberated on that, and the decision is that because the new national minimum wage is not just that of the federal government, it is an issue that involves the federal government, the state governments, local governments, and the organized private sector, and of course including the organized labor. That memo was stepped down to enable Mr. President to consult further, especially with the state governors and the organized private sector, before he makes a presentation to the National Assembly.
The tripartite committee on the national minimum wage, consisting of government, organized labor, and the private sector representatives, was inaugurated in January 2024. While government and the organized private sector recommended increasing the wage to 62,000 naira from 30,000 naira, the organized labor demanded a 250,000 naira living wage. The Minimum Wage Act of 2019, which made 30,000 naira the national minimum wage in the country, expired 2 months ago. No timeline has been provided by the government on when the president will end consultations and send a bill to the National Assembly.
Mr. President, and indeed the entire administration is not in opposition to the issue of increase in wages. I want Nigerians to note that. But what it has always said, what the administration has always said is that we want an increase that is consistent with what Nigeria can take so that we don't throw the country into some form of a problem. As to the issue of timeline, I don't want to speculate, but I know that it's going to be very, very soon because the president takes this issue seriously.
In response to the triple threat of biodiversity loss, climate change and pollution, the federal government also banned the single-use plastics across all federal government ministries, departments and agencies.
It envisaged that by 2025, January 2025, some categories of plastics will be banned in Nigeria. And most of them are single-use. Plastic spoons, straws, PET bottles, pure water sachet, and so on and so forth. So what the federal government is doing is preparing the minds of Nigeria and leading by example. When you see this thing being done in the federal ministries and agencies, you will see that it will convince you that it is possible. As a matter of fact, I can tell you that in the Federal Ministry of Environment, we started the ban since January 2024.
To support the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency's anti-narcotics operations, the Council approved 3 memos, including the purchase of CNG-powered vehicles worth over 1.9 billion naira and additional arms and ammunition. Other approvals include variations in road and bridge projects across the country.
The second one is, again, purchase for the NDLA. This time is for the procurement of arms, ammunition, and anti-riot equipment for counter-narcotic operations for the NDLA. This is for the sum of 1,442 United States dollar. The third in the series is the procurement of 2 units of body scanner, full body scanners at both Abuja and Lagos international airports to boost the operation of NDLA. This is at a cost of 985 million naira.
Let me announce that the 330 emergency repair of roads and bridges across the country, valued over 500 billion, is about 80% completed. Ministry of Finance has fully released 300 billion, and so the project is ongoing. We're going to publish by next week the full details.
While the Federal Executive Council addressed various critical issues today, the stalemate on the national minimum wage will be keenly watched. And as the government navigates consultations and negotiations, all eyes will be on President Bola Tinubu's next steps in addressing the wage dispute. From the presidential villa, Adesua Omorwan, Arise News.